Tony Fredianelli started as a teen shredder on Shrapnel Records, and somehow ended up shaping some of Third Eye Blind's most iconic guitar work. In a previous deep dive, I explored his early shred years and tried to tackle some of his wildest playing. That video actually helped spark this conversation, and Tony was generous enough to take the time to answer my questions directly and in detail. Enjoy the ride. I picked up a guitar in junior high school, and it felt completely natural right away. My father was already well known and friends with people from the Rat Pack world. Frank Sinatra, Don Rickles, Buddy Hackett. He was a big inspiration for me growing up. As a kid, the Beatles were my first musical heroes, and they're still my favorite artist. Then came Jimi Hendrix. After that, Yngwie Malmsteen and Allan Holdsworth had a huge impact on me. Being a teenager with that kind of energy, it was amazing to be part of the Shrapnel Records heyday in the late 80s. Kids today don't realize what the world was like back then. There was a real scene and a real record business. All the Shrapnel guitarists were checking out each other's work as records came out. McAlpine, Vinnie Moore. Mike Varney was a pivotal figure. It's actually because of Mike Varney that I met Stephen Jenkins. For instrumental work, I like Tablet of Destiny. But my favorite Apocrypha songs are on the Eyes of Time. Father Time, and Westworld are probably my favorites. We were kind of a second coming of early Judas Priest, and for metal, I loved that era. I met Paul Gilbert a few times and Jason Becker when he was very young. I'd been friends with Marty Friedman for years. As you know, he produced 2 Apocrypha records. I even visited him in Japan after his Megadeth years. I owed one final record to Shrapnel, and Breakneck Speed was the solution. I made a conscious decision to try something different. What's funny is that a lot of young musicians today tell me they hear genres and styles on that record that came much later. Things like math rock. They'll point out odd counting patterns, like 1-2-1, 1-2-3, 1-2-3-4, 1-1-2. Really unpredictable stuff. If you listen to the opening track, you can hear it immediately. Bungee cord grunge is pretty intense. I used a Kitty Hawk preamp with 30-watt Celestion speakers. I endorsed Ibanez and Carvin guitars. Don't ask me the models, we're talking late 80s, long time ago. You mean the guitar that was stolen and taken overseas? Yeah, a friend of mine named Trotsky built it. He also built a guitar that shot lasers. I've always had pop sensibilities. Around 1993, everyone was hot on grunge. Steven already had demos he was working on with Jason, trying to craft a big hit. We really were children of the 80s, familiar with New Order, The Smiths, and other new wave bands. We weren't consciously trying to move away from grunge, but unconsciously shifting towards something else. Semi-Charmed Life was the first song I worked on. It was written by Anthony Chun, Eric Gotland, and Steven. I added guitar work, but it was a hit from the start. It's also important to give Kevin Cadigan and Arion Salazar their due credit. In my opinion, the Third Eye Blind sound started developing when Arion joined Steven and me, and Tim Wright, but it really took off when Kevin Cadigan and Steven's collaboration cemented it. It's incorrect to say there's limited technique involved in playing Third Eye Blind songs. Try playing Carnival Barker correctly. It's very nuanced and requires finesse. A lot of the parts land on upbeats, which requires feel, a totally different skill set. There are players who can rip incredibly fast but couldn't lay back into a groove to save their lives. In some ways, shredding is actually easier. It's a true story. I was told the band was firing Kevin, and I was asked if I wanted to take back the main guitarist role. We were on a private jet, and I was quickly shifting from a utility role to being the main guitarist again. I already knew Arion and Steven, and we had a shared history. A lot of it was just jamming between old friends. It felt natural. I saw that Kevin and Arion were working on a project. Knowing I could do a pretty convincing Stephen Jenkins voice from years of singing behind him on stage, I left Kevin a voicemail singing the first few lines of Losing a Whole Year. He called me right back and said, "Yes, let's get together." I still think we should have kept it going and played shows from time to time, but Steven stepped in and made that impossible. Still, I'm happy we were able to do it for the fans. I have a deep love for the original Third Eye Blind fan base. They know who they are. Cody is like a little brother to me. There's no fan more entrenched or authentic than him. Pause here. Excellent time for me to shout out Cody here, who watched my original video and made this entire thing happen. Seriously, thanks a lot, man. I can, but it's not really what I'm into anymore. So many people can do that now. When I first signed with Shrapnel, there were maybe 20 people on Earth who could play like that. It's wild to see how much things have evolved. Call it the evolution of speed fingers. Tony laughed and said, "Sounds like something that may have happened during my wilder days, before I cleaned up. It could have been an Apocrypha song, or maybe something from Breakneck Speed. Funny, though." I went once, around 2006. I visited the Marshall booth. I've had many memorable industry moments, but honestly, none at NAMM. I was never a big fan of those kind of expositions. The best gear is never new, it's always vintage. A 64 Strat, vintage Vox amp, equipped with 12-inch Celestion Alnico Blue speakers. As I write this, I just finished a Laughing Cats show in Puerto Rico. The headliners were Flo Rida and Imagine Dragons. Crazy show. I also produce music, help people build songs, and add guitar parts for other artists professionally. I'm probably the wrong guy to ask. I mostly follow the classics. Everything's been done before. Everything is derivative. What makes Third Eye Blind special is that it shifted the landscape at the time. Steven, Kevin, Arion, Eric Gotland, myself, and everyone who followed should take pride in that history. The fans of Third Eye Blind are the most special. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. The shared memories, the moments, I gave my heart to that project. I was the first founding member after Steven to help build it. Steven did not use session musicians. This was a band, and for decades it functioned that way. Here is the true genealogy of Third Eye Blind. Stephen Jenkins, founding member. Eric Gotland, ghost lyricist. Tony Fredianelli, founding member. Arion Salazar, founding member. Michael Urbano, important sessionist. Kevin Cadigan, founding member. Brad Hargreaves, founding member. The current members are band members, not session players. Know the truth, and that truth shall make you free. Thanks again to Tony for sharing his perspective and trusting me with his words. I appreciate you all for watching. Subscribe if you enjoyed, and stay tuned for more deep dives soon. See ya.